When people imagine the future of nutrition and anti-aging, the mind often jumps to futuristic pills, genetic engineering, or lab-grown superfoods. Yet, the deeper science of longevity increasingly points back to something far simpler: carbohydrates. Not the refined, sugary caricature we often demonize, but the steady, nutrient-rich, fiber-filled carbohydrates that human bodies evolved to thrive on. Emerging research is reinforcing the idea that, for healthy aging, carbohydrates are not optional extras but central players in metabolic stability, cellular vitality, and long-term disease prevention. Studies on longevity hotspots, so-called blue zones like Okinawa in Japan, Ikaria in Greece, and Sardinia in Italy, show a striking pattern. Carbohydrates make up the majority of calories in the diets of these populations, but the quality is radically different from the processed carbs filling most modern plates. In Okinawa, purple sweet potatoes were historically the backbone of the diet, while in Ikaria and Sardinia, legumes, beans, and whole grains dominate daily meals. These carb-rich staples supply resistant starches, polyphenol, and antioxidants that support gut health, reduce inflammation, and stabilize blood sugar. The lesson is not just historical, it's a preview of the nutrition strategies likely to define future healthy aging. At the cellular level, new studies on mitochondria, the energy engines of the body, suggest that glucose remains the most efficient fuel for ADP production, with fewer damaging byproducts than fat oxidation under normal conditions. This means that balanced carbohydrate intake helps preserve mitochondrial function and slows the oxidative stress that accelerates aging. Pair this with the discovery that dietary fiber from carbs feeds gut microbes to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, molecules now recognized as anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer agents, and it becomes clear that the path forward in nutrition science leans heavily on the power of smart carb choices. Emerging research on brain aging further underscores the role of carbs. Glucose is still the brain's preferred fuel, and diets chronically low in carbohydrates may impair cognitive resilience over the long haul. On the other hand, stable carb intake from whole foods has been linked with reduced risks of dementia and better preservation of memory with age. This dovetails with new findings on the gut-brain axis, showing that carbohydrate-fed microbiomes produce compounds that protect neurons and regulate mood, making carbs as much a mental health tool as a metabolic one. In the field of endocrinology, scientists are now examining how moderate carbohydrate consumption supports hormonal balance in older adults. Adequate carbs reduce chronic cortisol elevations, preserve thyroid hormone conversion, and sustain insulin sensitivity when paired with fiber. These hormonal benefits translate directly into healthier aging, steadier energy, better sleep, preserved muscle mass, and reduced fat accumulation in high-risk areas like the abdomen. Nutrition strategies of the future will increasingly emphasize carbohydrates as the regulators of these interconnected systems. Looking forward, technology will likely refine the way we integrate carbs into diets. Precision nutrition tools, microbiome analysis, and continuous glucose monitoring will help individuals fine-tune carb intake to maximize benefits while avoiding harmful spikes. Imagine a diet plan that recommends not just eat more legumes, but pinpoints the exact variety of lentil or grain that optimizes your gut flora and glucose curve. Even with these high-tech advances, the core principle remains beautifully low-tech. Whole, unprocessed carbohydrates are indispensable for slowing aging. This doesn't mean the future is a carb free-for-all. Refined sugars and ultra-processed snacks will continue to be flagged as accelerants of aging, fueling inflammation, glycation, and metabolic decline. But the binary carbs good or bad debate will increasingly look outdated. Instead, the focus will shift to carb quality, timing, and synergy with proteins and fats. Nutritional science is already moving in this direction, treating carbohydrates not as the villains of weight gain, but as nuanced tools for shaping longevity outcomes. In the future of anti-aging nutrition, carbohydrates will no longer be seen as expendable or optional. They will be recognized as the foundation, the steady, adaptable fuel source that sustains mitochondrial health, feeds the microbiome, stabilizes hormones, and protects the brain. With every study pointing us back to the benefits of whole grains, legumes, fruits, and starchy vegetables, the future of nutrition looks less like a radical reinvention and more like a thoughtful return to what evolution and tradition already taught us. Carbs are not just part of the diet, they are central to the blueprint for healthy, vibrant aging.